Hey, welcome to the Holy Hour. This is Gavin, and I'm joined by...
the Donald.
Yeah, this is the All Cure podcast, and we're trying something special for you tonight. This is the first time ever in Holy Hour podcast history that we're trying this thing long distance for you.
Hell yeah.
So
I'm live from the Wolf Den.
There he is. Out in Richmond. You
Actually, my garage.
Yeah. And I'm out here in good old Asheville, man. Where the crystals are shining and the mountains are high, man. The mountains are high as the world, man. Anyway, so yeah, thanks for joining us. And we really wanted to try this out to see. Hopefully we can get a few more episodes locked down for you this way and just utilize technology. I think we've made it pretty clear from the start that we didn't want to try this or Skype, but we have a theory and we hope it works. So, and
literally we're using, at least I'm using, the most antiquated equipment to record this on my end. So we're utilizing technology from 15, 20 years ago.
Exactly. I was just about to say, like, as clever as I felt like we were for coming up with a way where this would be good, I'm like, I bet people like in the 30s probably found out like a better way to do this than what we're still doing, even like with the technology. So
I'm sending this via telegram wire.
Yeah.
Or telegraph wire.
People are like, why don't you just use Skype, you jackasses? I'm like, no, it's not that.
I'm recording this on a speak and spell.
Yes. But we'll give it a shot. So I thought we'd, before we officially dive into this week's episode, Cure Small Talk, new segment on the show.
Hell yeah.
So I thought I'd just ask what you've been up to as far as Cure listening. Have you, or even non-Cure listening, I guess, but any Cure albums in particular, anything that's been getting a lot of rotations at your house at the moment?
I have. It's oddly been Pornography. It's been, well, not oddly, but it's not my favorite out of my holy trinity of records. It's, I don't know, but it's just really hitting today with just like, it was such a great blend of like these like awesome garbage drum beats. And I mean garbage in the best of terms. Like,
right.
They're fantastic, but like just these like odd drum beats, and now everything is layered and it reminded me, like, afterwards I was listening to Japanese Whispers, and on Let's Go to Bed, just like when they're kind of leading up to the chorus or whatever, like just the way like he escalates his voice to escalate the tension in the song, and then his voice gets all full of tension. Yeah, he's like, if you don't say it, if you don't like that part, like just the way he utilizes his voice and builds tension. It made me think more about Pornography, which I had listened to prior to that, where there's a lot of that, and you have just like this sparse, gnarly drum beat that stands out in itself, and then just all the layers of music, and then this, I don't know. Yeah,
it's a good point. Yeah, that's kind of in past few weeks and stuff while listening to Faith and that a lot. I mean, it's super obvious, no brainer, but like the idea of like just how different those albums would be. Not so much even if they recorded it now, but like just like later in their career even, and like how, because it is so sparse and everything, and like just I wonder, I mean, they'd probably still be great because the songs are good and everything, and they know how to produce the shit out of some stuff, but like it would definitely be different, and it's like, and it's really part of the charm is just how like, like we had talked about with 17 Seconds and then taking it to those next levels, because they were doing cool production stuff, but it wasn't like totally just blown out every direction.
Yeah,
like
there's no pet sounds.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool. Yeah, that's funny. I've got a lot a lot of rotations on Galore. Actually, as crazy as that sounds, the greatest hits singles part. Well, I threw it on. I know it's been like Charlotte every night in my car for the last like 3 weeks. I think it's almost been 3 weeks where I haven't taken it out of my car, and it's for fairly stupid reasons. At work, my job, like can go hit or miss as far as a good day or a bad day, and I'm one of those people that gets kind of stupid superstitious as far as like things going well and stuff. So we've been having like good days where I'm getting out on time and everything, and so I don't want to change anything, and I've convinced myself that it's the CD in my car. So I've been like totally almost driving myself crazy. Luckily, the hits, the singles, it's shit I've heard a billion times anyway, and if I haven't gotten sick of them yet, I'm never gonna. But at the same time, wow, it's starting to get a little kooky in there. But the saving grace
isn't.
What's it?
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, isn't Galore like a bunch of like their later stuff, like later singles?
Yeah, I mean, it's like
encompasses
it's Standing on the Beach Part 2, basically the singles from Kiss Me up to Wrong Number. So yeah, it is kind of surprising too how like quick once you get past Disintegration, the whole second half of their greatest hits, it's all like Wild Mood Swings and just kind of so it actually ends a little more abruptly than I thought. Like you would think it would be this longer album, but I mean, I guess because every album by that point had like 4 singles on it. even saying Wild Mood Swings just sends you into but the saving grace of it has been Henson. Actually, my kid is really latching onto the songs because it takes his like tons of like plays, and like he's totally into Lullaby because he thinks it's about Spider-Man eating dinner.
Oh, that's funny. A child loves that song. That's a shocker.
And then he's really into Friday I'm in Love. But the cool part was the unprompted play me the Show Me. He says, show me, play that. And I'm like, oh, cool. And,
like can do, boss.
And unprompted, so that was cool. And he likes the Buzzing Bees part of the 13th. And but then he says there's a song, play the Mushroom song, and I can't figure out what the fuck song he means. Like
wow,
single.
What would that be?
I don't know. It's gotta be something he's just misinterpreting, but I don't think anything sounds like
Galore.
Yeah, so it's one of the singles, and then we go through them all, and he's just like, yeah, it's this one. But then I've played other ones for him, and he's been like, yeah. So I don't know. So Galore's been getting tons of plays, and good old Why Can't I Be You's been catching on, and all those.
And you're trying to figure out what the Mushroom song is, like.
Yeah, exactly. So
I would listen to that every day just to like, what is it? What is it, kid?
Yeah, like what is
the fucking Mushroom song?
Like I thought maybe Mint Car or something, but like I don't know what the hell it could be because they don't like nothing even sounds like mushroom in it, but.
Well,
I don't know.
Robert Smith is a fucking marble mouth, though.
Yeah, exactly. You could probably think he's saying anything. So who knows? But
just try to squeeze mushroom into every song that you hear, like the word, like try to mash it into the lyrics and see if it makes sense.
Yeah.
That'd be my best bet.
Let's see. It's still in there, so if it's another good week, I might be getting some full listens in, but
yeah, it's why I started listening to pornography more.
Yeah,
in a weird way of just like, no, this is an oldie but a goodie. Like,
yeah,
it's weird. I've listened to it a million times, but then I get to the point, to a point where I'm like, I don't know, like I'll still find something fucking new about it.
Yeah, it's a
like
great
I did
album
just
for
this
that.
past week, like just really caught me in a different way.
I've been noticing for some reason I never, thought of it as one of those albums where it's like, man, I really love every song in a row on that. Yeah. Maybe with the side of like the actual song Pornography is cool and it rounds out the album or whatever, but like, it's technically not that great of a song in my opinion. I know a lot of people feel differently, but it's just kind of a cool like thematic song more than like a but aside from that one, I mean,
piece, man.
Yeah, I mean, it just definitely fits and paints the whole picture for sure. But at the same time, I felt like you would think an album like that would have a few of those plugged in there, but it's like, well, really actually more concise than you would think on first glance, you know. It's like, wow, yeah,
it is.
fucking song is like really good on this. So
there's no dogs on it.
Yeah,
you know, there's no shitty songs. Like they're all fucking solid and like and you would expect like some big like 2 to 3 moody pieces like because you kind of like he fucked around with like the band, not just Robert Smith but the band, The Cure, fucked around with that on 17 Seconds,
right? But
there's like Faith doesn't really have like a moody piece. There's little moody interlude bits and songs maybe, but and more of an overall theme, I guess, than like there's no need for like a moody piece in the middle. Right. But I don't know. They seem to like revert back to that with Pornography, you know. But it's such a heavy record where it's like I like that they keep that pace. Even like the little moody pieces, unsettling. Like it's not like a calm in between, like a breath in the middle of the record or some shit.
Right. Yeah, because they totally, if they would do it now, it would probably be something like that, where you drag it out a lot more and put shit in it that doesn't really need to be in it. And that whole, was it only 8 songs on that? Well, they're longer songs, but
they don't feel long.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's funny because that one, I think like 17 Seconds actually had 10 songs on it, even though, you know, and I was all complaining about that it was short, but it's like technically Faith and that have less songs on it, but they feel way more full to me.
I know how
we won't go back into
man.
that world. Yeah, I'm not going back into that fucking can of worms. But, well, there's a couple of revelations I want to drop on you, if that's cool, real quick. We don't need to dwell on them or anything. A couple of them are actually pornography related, so it kind of ties in. But we had talked the other night, and I had mentioned, and this is maybe this is a super obvious Cure thing or not, but somebody had thrown it up on one of these threads or something, and I was like, what? I never heard it, and like was just kind of like skeptical, but then I checked it out, and I kind of did check out that whole did you listen for the secret whisper line in Last Dance on Disintegration there?
No, you told me about it, but I
the line is "Name like ice into my heart" from the song Cold. He whispers it right before like the last chorus, I think, on Last Dance, and somebody had mentioned it on there, and then like I went back and listened to it. I was like, it is fucking in there when you listen to it, and I doubted myself even. I listened again. I mean, there's like a 98% chance it's what it is, and it was pretty cool. It was just like,
could it be something else?
I don't think so, man. I think it really was it. So I'd love to hear others like, yeah, dumbass, everybody's known that since 1989. But I like totally never got that. So I should have cited whoever it was that's put it up on one of these fan sites or whatever.
Does the lyric make sense in the song?
Yeah, in the sense that it, you know, fits
like lyrically, like
yeah, I think so. I mean, as much as all that is just kind of super, you know, heavy relationshipy. I don't know, just like yeah. So I think it fits. And then the weirder part though is I always kind of, you know, it makes sense on the surface, and who am I to doubt anything Robert Smith's saying? But like the whole trilogy of like Pornography, Disintegration, and Blood Flowers. Like once he started doing all that, you know, for the tour of trilogy and all, and you know, I kind of felt like on some level he might have been George Lucasing that a bit, you know, like you know. But I was like, come on, man, like you didn't think of, you know, it being a trilogy when you were recording like Blood Flowers, thinking this would be the third part of it. You know, if it just turned out that way, great. But you know, something like that pops up, and I'm like, oh shit, maybe it is a little more planned out than you'd think. So who knows? But I thought that was kind of cool. And I'm hoping that it's not actually the lyric, because I hate that whole trilogy. Like I hate that whole fucking like trilogy concept, because it's supposed to be like, was it like Faith, Disintegration, and Blood Flowers or something, or Pornography, Disintegration, Disintegration, and Blood Flowers, and they all kind of make sense in the sense that I guess Pornography wasn't, but like
I wouldn't say because they all suck, but they don't.
Well, I mean, Disintegration was like him turning 30, and then Blood Flowers like him turning 40. But pornography was a little after him turning 20. But I think it's that idea of like, you know, the turning stages and phases of life, or I don't know. I'm sure he has a way better explanation for it all. But
how old was Robert Smith when they did Disintegration?
Like I think he's like turning 30. I don't know how old he was when it actually came out, but like when they were recording it, he was just about to turn 30. Yeah, which is weird.
I'm about to turn 40.
Yeah, I know, it's weird. And that's a child.
Flower. He was a baby. Someone that look at that baby's writing that really so good weird. Record.
I know, it's so weird.
It's like a toddler. And everyone's going back and dissecting this fucking child's lyrics, you know?
I know. It's crazy.
Because he was like, they've been doing this since like the late fucking 70s, you know? Like,
yeah, I know. Talk about
imagine people clinging on to what you said and thought when you were fucking 19 and 20 and shit. Like,
yeah. Well, that's what I was thinking. I started looking up Faith stuff for a Faith episode, and he was like just turned 21, I think, when Faith came out. What the fuck? He's like 21. I was like so far from any of that at 21.
I know.
It's like, good God. So I guess that just kind of further proof that he's made of a special cloth, that man. God bless him.
I know.
It really is. Just like.
And I think people forget. That, like, when they start looking at history and the past of things and bands and stuff and authors and whatever, you know, just people.
Yeah.
Like,
and almost too because of his look and stuff. I mean, he's always just kind of looked at that look, and people just kind of, you know, clump it all together. You don't really think of him almost as a real human, because you know, it's like
because he distorts.
What's that?
Yeah, he just distorts his image, and it's not like looking at family photos.
Right, yeah.
You know, because if you look at his family photos, you'll probably see like the standard like decline of a person as they age. You know,
right? I mean, he's always just kind of some weird version of a person, and like, you know, you don't really.
And it's like that Bowie aspect of just like really controlling the image that you put out, like and the Susie aspect, you know, just having because it's funny, like, because it actually works, like, because it blurs for me, you know. I look at the band not in like, that's why I'm so shocked when I find out, like, you know, I'm reminded of how old he was when he did something, or you know, because it's just such this blur and this just with the image, and it blurs time.
It really does,
you know? And that's what makes it beautiful, you know, when something can grasp you that hard, and it's like, why we can listen to pornography over and over again and still listen to it again, like within the same week, and be blown away and find something new that's just like, fuck, I never noticed that, because it blurs and it moves and shifts. And
yeah, I mean, it's that thing that I've kind of always wanted to be a core line, even the premise of this show, in a sense of like just how timeless their music or them as a band even really is, and that kind of fits in to his image, and him as a person even seems timeless. You know, timeless in the sense that like you really can just pluck these things out and they don't sound weird now. Like you listen to anything from like 83 or 82 and shit. I mean, aside from like maybe Japanese Whispers, none of it sounds dated at all, really. I mean, it's all
not
just
at all.
kooky enough where if it came out now, it would just sound a little weird, but I mean, it sounded a little weird then, so that's the beauty of it. I mean, it really, I mean, there's select songs here and there, like the saxophone stuff, and, you know, but I mean, really as a band that's been around and that prolific, it's like amazing that so much of it is so like timeless, and I'm sure it's on purpose to a certain degree, but I mean, a lot of that's just got to be credited as being a great artist, I would think, you know. So speaking of timelessness, is a good turning point. Yeah. We did have a concept for this episode, believe it or not, and it was funny because we talked the other night, and we were like, and we're all psyched on it, and we're like, this is a great idea for a show, and jotted down some idea. We talked earlier today, and even over the weekend, I started thinking, I was like, maybe none of this makes any sense, and I kind of turned on it, but now I'm kind of coming back around again, and I feel like maybe it's a good idea, so we'll throw it out there. Cool. So
I was shocked to discover that I actually came up with this idea, and then I was like, the next day I was like, what dickhead came up with this fucking concept? And then Gavin reminded, like, you did.
You did, man. You don't remember any of that conversation?
I do, but
it's the beauty of working with Donald. You never know what's going to stick from... The bad boy won't tell you what sticks and what won't, you know?
A bad boy's just pissing on a wall, man.
Every conversation's happening for the first time.
What was that?
Every conversation's happening for... Every conversation... But what we came up with, and we had many different wordings for it, but basically we thought it'd be cool to talk through the idea of we initially said like introducing somebody to The Cure, like a new fan, because it'd been so long. Everybody's been kind of a fan at this point for so long, and you know,
and they've been playing for like 80 years.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much mathematically impossible for anybody to be like a music fan and not have at least heard the name, I would think. But I'm sure there are people out there. You still get a few blank stares when you say The Cure from people, maybe. But we're like,
I get nothing but blank stares just existing.
Yeah.
In the world. Like, if I bring up The Cure and get a blank stare, I'm not fucking shocked, you know?
Yeah, you're not too thrown off. Yeah, I mean, but usually people will humor you, you know? You could always throw out, like, yeah, Friday, I'm in love, and Love Salt. Oh, yeah, just like Kevin, you know? Or at least maybe they catch on that they're a big enough band and they should know who they are, so they just play along and feel dumb, but that's on them, you know, kind of thing. But
The Cure, hasn't The Cure been referenced in, like, a fucking Adam Sandler movie?
Yeah. I mean,
that just broadens the audience of people that go, "Oh, right." So,
you know,
so next time you're trying to describe like who The Cure is, just go like, "Remember that Adam Sandler movie
from 1992?"
And they'll go,
they'll
go, right.
Oh, that's them. Yeah.
I gotta put that in the pocket, man. I gotta pull that card out every once in a while. You know, like in that
Yeah, you know, that one that Reese Witherspoon's movie's named after. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you know that Reese, all the bad movies.
So we thought, like, I jotted down introducing somebody to The Cure, converting a Cure fan, winning them
Adam
over.
Sandler.
So, yeah. Adam Sandler. All these things that are... But, like, converting a Cure fan sounds a little too, like, religious culty or something, so I didn't like that term a little bit. You know,
that is creepy.
Yeah, sounds like, because it does get to a certain point where you stop pushing, you know, like it's like I remember in our 20s and shit. I mean, I'm a dude that loves like make mixtapes and shit for people just to like share music, you know. Anyone asks me for an album I have, I'll gladly copy it and mail it to you with postage. You know, it's like one of those things, and it's totally not like, oh, my fucking music, I want to broaden your horizons. It's just, I have it, you should hear it. If I feel like it's a band that added anything to my life, I'm so happy to share it, and just it's fun, you know. I wish more people would do.
You've curated mixtapes. To add to your point, you've curated mixtapes for me, like, throughout the whole time I've known you, like, well, if he's into this, then he'll like this.
Yeah, you know.
And then it's like, well, he liked this, so then he'll probably like this. And you, like, really curate the tapes where, like you said, you were never like, here's some bullshit that I like.
Yeah, I hope. That was always
it was always well thought out, you know?
Nice. But, yeah, that's the idea. I think it's like, you know, you got to take the person into consideration, and
you swayed me.
Yeah, you know? Well, that's what we were trying to think of when we got this idea rolling. It was like, well, when was the last batch of like rounds of Cureness? Because I kind of gave up at a certain point. Like, people would get to know me, and they're like, "Well, what's your favorite band?" I'm like, "Oh, The Cure," and like, "Oh, who?" Even in college or whatever, but I've kind of just stopped even making like Cure mixes for people and shit, because it's so like daunting, and it's just like I love them so much that I feel like it's a hard one to do, because it's like you're so biased that it's like, what the fuck? How could you not like this? You know, like where you would take it. I can make, you know, 99% of every mix I make somebody I don't hear anything back on and don't get any feedback, so, and it's totally fine. But you know, it's like one of those things you can't.
And it'd be like one of those 120-minute cassettes, like one of those like longest ones.
Yeah,
you know, it wouldn't be like a fucking short mixtape. It'd be like one of the longest ones. I
spent a month making that, man. It was like,
yeah, totally.
Just obsessed. No, I mean, but it's like, it is what it is, when it is a band that you really are that passionate about, you feel it is kind of like a biased opinion, you know, like where I feel
maybe
like
not a biased, but It sounds so douchey, but like a responsibility.
Yeah,
because you know so much about the band, like you know all of their fucking songs probably, and someone that has heard nothing, and you know everything. You know what do you pass on? Like, there's a responsibility there because it's like, no, I've mulled over this band for the past, fucking 20 years or whatever. Like,
right. And
like, do I want to pass some of this bullshit on to someone that hasn't heard them? Like,
right.
You can trip them out easily.
Totally. Yeah. Because you don't know. And it's like, do you only like certain songs because you've massacred other songs so much that you've just moved on to the next batch? You're like,
this song is great for breakups. Yeah. Like, you're going to add all this bullshit on. Like,
do you really need this?
After the 8,000th time I've listened to Just Like Heaven, let me tell you what it's really about.
Right.
Do you just like blow the discovery wad?
Right. Yeah. There's a lot of fine lines that shouldn't probably be crossed, but do you remember the last person you made a Cure mix for?
I think Matt.
Yeah.
Like, like I've been moving and like I set up this dope stereo in my parlor in my new house. Mm-hmm. And I finally got all my mixtapes and just all my cassettes and like all my brother's cassettes. Nice. Out of my mom and dad's attic and just from all over the place. And I've just been going through cassettes, like, because I'm a lazy fucker and none of them have labels. And so I've just been going through all these old mixtapes and like, and I'm kind of thrown on like, there's mixtapes that I remember making. And these are like mixtapes when I was in like high school, like however long ago. And a little after that, because I made mixtapes for a long time. But I think there's mixtapes that I made and was like, now this is too good, I'm keeping this. Yeah. And there's like all these Cure, like as much as I want to like shit on Wish, apparently at the time, like I was sprinkling Wish onto all kinds of mixtapes and stuff, like. And I don't know. It's bizarre.
Yeah, it's funny how that. It's weird when you end up like a mix of that you knew you gave to somebody. But yeah, we were talking about this. Like, how did I end up with a copy of it?
Did
I just not give it to him, or was it so good that I made a copy for myself? Does that break a mixtape rule? I don't really know.
Am I the prick that would make a test run of a mixtape? Yes.
Yeah. Maybe, like something didn't go right or the click off and you're just like, fuck it. And like turns into the Apocalypse Now of mixtapes or something. Or I'm redoing it. It's really easy with mixed CDs. Like I totally, because you have the playlist already on your whatever the fuck. So I'd always burn myself one too and stuff. But I don't know. Was that the first introduction for Matt that you gave him that, or was it something like where he kind of had some surface Cure and you're like, here's some deep shit, man, like deep cuts, or or just a fun Cure mix? Even do you recall if that was like his like intro to the Cure? Or?
No, I don't think it wasn't his intro. I think it was like he kind of heard them and kind of had some stuff that he liked, and then I like brought in like the hammer of deep cuts and like B-sides and cool. And then like a slew of other bands, Yeah. But that was just like,
wasn't an exclusive Cure mix then. It was mixed in with other shit.
No, like I made him like specifics. I copied him like whole records and like which he still has the
nice
the cassettes of the original ones.
Cool.
Yeah.
I can't remember. I think like the last and. I mean, it hasn't been recent and forever. Like, I think my wife's brother's girlfriend, who's now his wife, when she was in high school with him, maybe, or something, like, probably around 2000, must have been like 2005 or so. Like, she asked for a Cure mix, I think. So I think that was like the last Cure mix. I kind of feel like maybe I even just gave her whole albums, but I think it was a mix. Eventually I gave her a CD mix. But yeah, like before that, maybe Ryan was the last one in like 97 or something. So it definitely, I just kind of gave up, like, because I figured they were just such a kooky band too that like you either fucking like them or you don't. And you know, by that point, if you hadn't heard them, I was just like, whatever. It's
and there's the internet.
Yeah, true.
It's really taken away.
That kind
like,
of soured it.
If you don't know about things now, you don't fucking care.
Exactly.
You know, like you.
Let me tell you about this band, and they're like, by the time you've made a CD or whatever the fuck, like, yeah, I already like downloaded all their albums in like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's true. But so for the sake of this, though, we were thinking, you know. Well, how would we convert a Cure fan, or introduce is the better term, a Cure fan
with or with the
Cure
internet,
now?
with or without the internet?
Yeah, there's a lot of going against reality in this scenario, but like, so we're like, because after we came up with this great idea, and we're all pumped on it too. I was all like, well, it totally just depends on the person. Like going back to what we're saying, where it's
right.
like, you know, if it's an 18-year-old metalhead kid that's just like, yeah, I want a Cure mix. I've never heard this. I would make a totally fucking different mix than like, you know, like a 28-year-old girl who's just like, yeah, I've never heard the Cure, you know, or some college kid, you know, it's just like, or, you know, someone our age, even it's like, yeah, just somehow never, all I've ever heard is just like Kevin, make me a Cure mix. That would be like worlds of difference. So it totally depends on the person, right? So for the case of this discussion, we figured it would just be a well-rounded music fan, no prior exposure. Maybe they were like stranded, or they're in jail or something. Maybe,
or if it's like someone that like listened to nothing but Hootie and the Blowfish, I would be like, in between days, dude.
Yeah. But and even that would probably judge you, yeah, because that would even like even if you didn't like the shit that they did like prior, then you'd probably make a different type of Cure mix than like, say somebody liked everything that you kind of like, but just somehow never heard the Cure. That would be weird.
I would think they were idiots.
I would not make them a tape.
I'd probably not be friends with them if they were that stupid. Like,
sure,
they're into everything else that I'm into, but not that.
I just never heard
of that.
Just never heard them. I can't help it,
like they're
man.
into like shoegaze or something, and they never heard of the fucking. They're into goth music, and they've never heard of the Cure.
Love Joy Division, but I just never heard this Cure band. Never checked them out.
You know.
Who are you? Who is this person?
I would instantly stab them with something, and then like circuits would come out of the wound.
I knew it, you fake motherfucker.
Totally. Robot motherfucker. But
for the sake of this, for the sake of this, well-rounded person. We'll even say they're genderless at this point. So
come on,
no ethnicity. They're just a genderless, nondescript ethnicity, and
they just stare at bathrooms in stores, just like I don't know.
Maybe they are.
What do I?
We'll just say that we're making this for a robot. We're making this for that. For Hal.
For like for Alf or Data from Star Trek.
Yeah, Data. So so that's the scenario we're taking. Can't you see why this was a great idea?
I know.
We're already 40 minutes in. So there we go.
This is gonna be a great episode.
This is gonna be good. All right, so going in, before we officially dive into specifics of tracks and albums, we thought we should narrow it down somehow, wrangle this in, and we came up with the number 3, or you did, but then you forgot about it. But
3 is my favorite number, man.
3's a good number, you know.
And it's the loneliest number.
Yeah, or next to 1, I guess. But songs, albums, videos, those kind of things. But like before we even make those kind of lists and debates, like I personally thought like the huge factor in finding like what other people would like about the Cure is obviously the diversity. You know, much like the humans that would like or not like the Cure. The Cure's like, you know, they've been around almost 40 years at this point, and they've covered tons of different perspectives of music and just themselves. You know, you can't expect people to just grow up. They're going to have many diverse angles to their personality, let alone their music. So we were thinking, like, I was thinking anyway, of songs, like how hard that would be, because it's like, do you take songs that are diverse within themselves, or do you take, like, you know, like
whole albums?
Yeah, or just,
They're dark years, they're bright years, they're pop years, they're Bowie years.
Or do you just pick a diverse batch of songs is what I'm getting at, like, I guess. So, like, that's where we'd start off with songs. We'll focus on songs. Like, if you got a 3-song mix, which is totally stupid. Nobody would ever make a 3-song mix. but just so we're not, like...
In this day and age of texts and tweets.
Yeah,
I mean, you need to be quick and concise, man.
You're handing a kid, like... $3 and some change to buy 3 songs on iTunes. And
damn.
But then it's like, well, do you choose like 3 songs, like, rough example not being my choices, but like Why Can't I Be You, Short Term Effect, and
Dope.
I don't know, what the fuck else would you do? Maybe let's see, we got a super gloomy one, we got a super poppy one, and then something in the middle, like I don't know, Boys Don't Cry. So, yeah. I mean, see what I mean? Like, that would be like 3 diverse songs, but then do you take a song like Pictures of You that's like kind of moody but still poppy? That's like a diverse song.
And was a single.
In the context of like Cure diversity, where it has a little of everything that they're about, or even a Forest or something, where it's like still a poppy single in a sense, but still has some weirdness that's, the Cure is known for. So I don't know. How did you? I'll let you kick it off. Do you have 3 songs in mind, and what angle did you take? Did you take totally extreme opposite songs, or just songs that you thought were like 3 fucking solid songs that represented the band best?
It's really tough because I kind of thought about it, and like initially, I just would go with like, 3 of my favorite ones that I'm listening to right now.
Right.
Regardless of the person and what they're into, I'd be like,
yeah.
I don't know. Because there hasn't been any really specific songs that I've just been like stuck on, but like Pornography's just been sticking.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the top for a while.
Right.
Because just...
You're talking the whole album, or like...
Yeah, just the whole album. It's hard for me to narrow down.
Like... I thought you were saying the song Pornography, the song Top.
Yeah, I know.
I'm only going
I guess I should be more
tracks.
specific. They were quite literal with some of their song titles. So
yeah.
But just the albums as a whole, and just like just like eras of the band I get into. So it's hard for me to pick like 3 songs. To like share with someone. It's too much responsibility.
Don't put this shit on me, man.
Yeah, it's like I figured it out, and I'm a dipshit. Like you get to work.
Spend $3 on iTunes. It's not that big.
I know. It's good.
Would it help if I threw some scenarios? I was saving that for later, but maybe it would help you narrow it down.
No, go, man.
All right. Well, just kind of off the top of my head, I didn't jot down specific ones, but like, let's do it that way. Maybe that would help you pinpoint a few songs. Like, all right. And we'll probably just like stumble into like some like sexist, racist comments that we like don't realize. Well, clearly a little gay boy that's 20 years old would love this. But no, let's keep it still general. Let's say, all right, let's say it's a 21-year-old just got out of college. She is feeling a bit depressed from a breakup recently, but is happy to start a new job that seems very positive in her career path. And she's never heard anything by The Cure, but loves New Order.
Oh, shit. Fuck, I don't have the internet in my garage, in the wolf den.
What do you need the internet for?
Because I'm
to hear the song?
I forget. What's on...
The song title? Oh shit, I forgot. You don't know any song titles.
What's on The Walk?
The Walk, the song? What's on Japanese Whispers, you mean?
Yes. Japanese, like the deep cuts on Japanese Whispers.
It's got like Lament and Just One Kiss.
Yes.
Upstairs
Just
Room.
One Kiss.
Let's Go to Bed.
Just One Kiss.
Yeah, Just One Kiss. All right.
That would be on the one of three.
Yeah, a New Order girl would dig that for sure.
Yeah, because the drum machine bit on that's great, and the bass line is stupendous. Like, I've been getting down on that song a lot lately. It's so good. But it would be that. And if it's for a chick, All Cats Are Gray would be on there.
Nice. Okay. And she is a little sadder than normal because she is going through a hard breakup. So.
Then you got to bring him down, make him think, bring him down, bring him back up. So that third one would have to be New Order. I would actually go for like song off of Kiss Me, which isn't normally where I'd go, but it's one of those like it's not Catch, but it's like a similar style. Fuck.
If Only Tonight We Could Sleep.
No, it's too dark.
Let's see.
Come on, internet.
You just want me to name every song on Kiss Me?
Come on, Siri.
How you doing, listener? Still there? Let's see. So you're thinking like a Catch-like song, but not Catch. Are you trying to think of a specific song that you're thinking of, or are you just kind of feeling like something like Catch? But
no, there's something specific, but
One More Time.
Ooh,
that'd be a good one.
Yeah, I like that.
Maybe not so New Order-y, but she's looking to branch out, you know? So,
yeah, totally. You gotta throw like, because like Kiss Me is just like such a romantic album. Like,
yeah,
in a weird way, to me, it's like their romantic French period. You know?
Yeah, that's what I love about that album. It's so like their romantic album. I don't know why exactly, but they somehow nailed it. Maybe it's just the giant lips on it or something. But
I know, and that's one of my least favorite ones of theirs. But I know.
Blasphemy. You unromantic bastard.
I know. That's why I probably wouldn't put anything off of Kiss Me on a...
Yeah, I don't know what I'd pick for her. I'd probably be along the same lines. I'd still probably go with the ones that if she's into New Order, then In Between Days, can't go wrong with that. You know? It's like if she's somehow never heard that.
That'd actually be the perfect. Yeah, that's a good one because the bass line is so.
Yeah, it's practically a New Order song, just way better. Yeah. And let's see. Depends on what part of New Order she even likes. Does she like the early shit, or is she like, I only like Republic up?
That's what I feel from
Republic
forget
up.
about. It was just like I just thought of like all this New Order stuff that like is my favorite, which is like their early stuff. And
she's like, no, actually, Touched by the Hand of God is my favorite song. It's like, what? Really? Okay. Who are you? What college did you
His
go?
vocals are great on that one.
Great lyricist. Subculture really sums up my life. All right. Well, how about albums? I think that was probably a little easier to do. Say, like, we get our well-rounded person back, our well-rounded robot, and we're like, what are 3 albums? We figured most people actually probably got into The Cure, whether they want to admit it or not, based on standing on the beach, you know? I think it's probably around the right era for most people. And if you weren't already like a fan, you know, and if you didn't latch on to like Friday I'm in Love, then the majority of Cure fans probably fall like on somebody that stumbled across Standing on the Beach. Maybe the exception would be Disintegration because, you know, of its mainstream success or whatever. But so we're not counting best of singles or live albums even, though, and that's a later topic because some of those live albums pretty much are the same thing as greatest hits, you know, like shows pretty much like greatest hits. But But
Like In Orange doesn't count.
yeah, for now it doesn't count. Maybe if we.
But that'd be so perfect though. It would
Yeah.
if you gave it to them like a VHS copy.
Yeah.
That counts. But if you just told them about it and told
Actually,
them to YouTube
it's weird that you say it, because that
count.
was kind of one of the main things for me that got me into
too.
was in Orange. Yeah, like I heard, this is all in the first episode in more detail, but Jeff had those, and Hanging Garden was the first song that like caught my attention, but in a goofy way. I was
Yeah.
like, how do you fall into the walls? That's fucking stupid. But then I was like, that's kind of cool too. And then he played In Orange for me, and I was like, why aren't they playing Hanging Garden? And he's like, oh yeah, they don't play that on this one. And I was like, this is pretty sweet. I don't know why really it caught my attention.
It's their Billy Joel phase.
Yeah, I think maybe he just didn't look quite as weird or something, so I wasn't totally I was afraid of him maybe. And then I listened to that and got Standing on the Beach. But all right, so yeah, let's scrap greatest hits and liveness, and for the well-rounded person, then we'll do another scenario. Do you have 3 albums, do you think? Because I think it's better to go with the wide diversity when you're doing albums, probably, if you have 3 albums to work with, don't you? As opposed
I do. And that's always like where I'm thinking, because just this day and age, like you have to know songs. Like, it's just because it's at your fingertips, and like through your phone, your computer, just whatever you want is there. And so I think albums make more sense in this era of just like you want to pay attention to something, you want to read a book versus a blurb, back of the book,
a comic book.
Yeah,
it's especially with a band like this that has not only such a long career span but such diversity. You play so many songs back to back. Most people wouldn't even realize it's the same band. So.
Yeah, like even on Kiss Me, you could make like a couple EPs out of that.
Yeah.
And they would all be distinct in their own things, and you would never have thought to if you mixed all those up, that would make a whole thing. Like they can do all of that within one record.
Yeah.
Just the diversity and just the different things and moods and
yeah. So what do you think?
Whole albums. This is my my list as of today.
Okay.
It would be Pornography. Japanese Whispers. And I'm stuck on the third because I want to say Pride Disintegration.
Yeah, it's hard not to put that one in there because it's
and I'm not crazy about it. That wouldn't be my 3. That would my favorite. Those aren't my favorite 3s.
Right. And that's the bottom line. I don't know if we've said that yet, but that was the hard part with this was it can't be, or I guess it could be, but at the same time, we're not really thinking so much our favorites, but keeping in mind the idea of somebody that's just never heard them, introducing them.
Yeah.
So, and it's
tough. But that would be
there's so much going on with Disintegration that it's hard to not put that one in there. It's got whatever the fuck it took to break through to the mainstream. I still don't really know if that makes sense that it did.
To me,
but
to me, it's the bridge between the two worlds.
Yeah.
It ties in the history and kind of the heart of the band and ushering it into this new era. You know, and they've kind of stuck.
Yeah.
In that realm a bit. I don't know. They've they've branched out and did some goofy fucking records, but
right.
When they got moody and orchestral elements, and it just reminds me of that's some Disintegration kind of shit if you think about it.
Yeah.
Just all this synth work, and it just
you see
the
traces
complexity
of everything.
changed.
But yeah, it is weird because you said, it's a great bridge because you see the progress in it, You know, you see everything
like what's to come and what was behind them.
Yeah, you see everything that led up to it, and you see that where the fuck it could go from here.
Yeah,
you know, it's like so
totally,
like it or not. You know, it's like there's always so many directions it could go in from here, and it's cool, especially at this time to see where it stands in the middle there. So yeah,
it does put a little
picks.
Perspective, you know, of like thinking about it that way of like. I don't know. There's so many elements of like their later stuff that
Japanese Whispers would probably be the weird one. People would be like, "Really, Japanese Whispers?" So that would kind of be your throwing in the extreme of this is them doing poppy and synthy, something a little different that you wouldn't hear on a normal Cure album per se, because it is pretty different.
And I would say almost another Bridge album to me. Like, you know, that was almost like. You know, I don't know, like a time of, I don't want to say decadence, indulgence, or experimenting, I guess, you know, like maybe a blend of the three, but.
Well, it was in the sense that they didn't even know where it was going at that point. You could tell, you know, like, it's interesting that it came right after Pornography, too, is diverse.
Totally.
You know, like your picks of, like, how the two extremes from that point, but, like, they're back-to-back albums, technically, you know, even though. And for the record, Japanese Whispers was like more of a compilation of singles or whatever, blah, blah, blah. But you know what I mean?
I know.
So if somebody's getting all technical here,
I know.
We're recalling you out before you call us out. So anyway.
It's a record.
yeah.
But yeah, it to me, it's like there's... Because one of the things that just I've been digging on lately, like one of those things I always dig on with The Cure is... when they started experimenting with like drum machines and like drum machine-esque beats and rhythms, you know.
I love that
repetitive stuff, and
it's really cool. I wish there was actually more of it. You know, it's one of those. It was a little too short-lived. I wish there would have been like maybe one more actual full-length album that was all that stuff, because they still managed to.
Dope, like right after Japanese Whispers, like a for realsies like synth pop jam.
Yeah, that would have been sweet. Because like. It's weird because, as much as, like, you kind of love the idea of Japanese Whispers being just, like, The Walk and, like, kind of even Upstairs Room and stuff, these kind of funner, synthy stuff, there's still some, like, you know, even, like, Just One Kiss and Lament are pretty, like, dark synth song. You know, they're not, like...
Very dark synth
you know, it's like, that shit from Pornography was definitely still in the blood veins, and, you know, it was like, you could tell that it's carrying over for sure, and, like, you know, keeping that Cure-ness in there, and you know, to their credit, that's why they weren't like Aha or something at that. But you know, like even them
exactly, they could have. They could have gone that way.
I love them so much because it's like even by throwing Love Cats on there and shit, you know, it's like this goofy. And maybe even aside from like Let's Go to Bed, like the first attempt at like this is just crazy fun poppy, the shit that would later appear in the encore sets at the end of the shows, you know. But
I know
it's like that's still a fucking crazy, weird, cool song, Love Cats. You know, it's like so weird. Like just the fact that like this synth compilation album, whatever you want to call it, is still has like this kind of jazzy. You know, new wave jazz song at the end, and even Speak My Language is the same vein, you know, where it's like kind of cool. There's still so much diversity even in that, you know.
I know, even in that specific record, because I was just gonna say before you said there's even diversity in that, but like those songs take away from the record.
Yeah. Those two definitely is where it feels like this was a compilation of singles, you know, like where that's the only part that stands out as like, what? What the fuck?
I know. Why didn't they do like a whole...
Yeah, it's weird.
A whole fucking record like that.
I guess he did the glove instead. I know, it would have been nice, but oh well. If only.
And that's something that can't be recaptured, you know?
Nah.
Like if they did it now, it's like it's not going to be the same.
Yeah, there's no way. You could strip it all down to like 3 keyboards. But back to the albums. My 3 would be pretty generic, really. Like I said, I think I just have to throw Disintegration in there because it changed so many people's lives in some form or another that I felt like if you have to hear one Cure album, it would be Disintegration for me. And then the other essential one I'd say was Head on the Door, because I feel like it's concise and it's diverse within itself so much. Where, like people, if they were somewhat skeptical of the Cure but wanted to hear an album, I feel like that album's, it's like all the Epic albums without the fat, it's just like, it just fucking kicks off with In Between Days. It has the fucking super catchy songs. It ends with Sinking, which is like, all right, you want your gloomy sad Cure? Here you go. Here's one of their best fucking ones. Has the weird shit with Kyoto Song. Has like,
see, I always feel like that would turn off people.
Yeah,
trying to turn them on to something like that's why Head on the Door isn't on the mix for me, because it's like there's songs like Kyoto Song, like where it's just like, that's weird. And like,
but then it like goes into like 6 different ways or something. You're just like, and Close to Me. I mean, like those are on there. It's like I feel like if they are truly gonna listen to the whole album, like this is kind of also with like the idea that they're not giving up at some fucking point.
Yes.
It's like if they're really gonna fucking listen to it, I feel like all of it is like quick and concise enough. Even Sinking, like for what feels like an epic Cure song, which it obviously is, but it's actually fairly short. Like I don't know the actual running time, but it's not.
It's a very concise song.
Yeah, it's not one that fucking drags on like you would think it. Yeah, I mean they could. I mean I could listen to that fucking drum beat and the bass line like all day, but it's like
totally.
But it really kind of just does what it's got to fucking do and wraps it up. And Close to Me doesn't even like really drag out that long, like all of it's just like bam, there it is. But it's got the weird and it's got the catchy. It's got the nothing's too extreme on it, like I figure like, I mean that album, the more I did like these little lists and shit, I'm like, Jesus, maybe that's my favorite album, because it's like fucking perfect, really. It's like, it's got so much
favorite
like,
album.
It could be. It's but Disintegration.
This song is like the jams on it are solid.
Yeah,
like the singles and a bunch of the other songs, but like the
Baby Screams. Sometimes I'm not in the mood for that.
What are the other songs on it? Like
on Head on
what
the
are
Door?
The deep cuts? Yeah.
Screw.
I'm counting Kyoto Song.
Push.
Screw's
kind of
good. That's my favorite. That's one of my favorite songs on the record. Yeah,
it's cool, but it's a little bit throwaway. But it's so like it's different. It's all like got that. It's like, what you doing?
Oh, and that bass line is like.
But it's not slap. But it could be slap.
It's so bad, it's good.
Yeah. What else? The Blood is a weird, good song.
I hate that song.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but it's like
the first like kid.
It's like a tire that should have been on the top for sure.
That shouldn't have been on a record.
He actually said that too. It was funny on Unplugged. I was watching that recently. Not it shouldn't be on a record, but he said he said this is a song from the top when he played it on Unplugged, and it was on Head on the Door. So that's pretty funny, because it does sound like a fucking kind of worldy music song that would have been on the top way more than like but anyway, so I don't know, but that third,
it would have ruined the top too.
What?
And what did they play to the Unplugged thing?
You can't ruin the top, man. The top is so fucking weird. You can't ruin that. Now you could have thrown anything on that fucking weird album and it would have been like, what the fuck? All right.
And they could have done it like a synth pop record.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't get it, but no one was expecting it. Yeah, that on the heels of like what should have been the next album should have been the synth pop album, and it was the fucking top. But that's why he rolls, man. He'll just fucking twist it like that.
Jesus.
Like, yeah,
balls on that dude.
Robert don't fucking care, man. Robert does what Robert does what Robert wants to do. Anyway, my third album.
Papa don't preach. What?
And the idea of like the third whatever, I think like, yeah, I'm kind of turning and think like just Dome fucking Faith would be a good one, just to like have something darker. But if I'm giving them Disintegration too, I feel like they're getting a more like easily to swallow version of that, So like I initially wrote down
Faith.
I was gonna say Faith, just to like give like a wider spectrum of that, like have Head on the Door, Disintegration, Faith. It's like that's pretty good coverage of the Cure. But I almost want to just fucking go with the full diversity. If you threw Kiss Me in there for me, like, this is my opinion, of course, seeping in, but it's like, there's so much going on Kiss Me, Kiss Me, that's like, if you can't find something in that fucking album that you like and don't like, then, you know, you're kind of, you know what I mean? It's kind of like Faith. You could listen to the whole thing and like every song or no song.
You don't like The Cure. Like, you don't like music. You don't like... right. No taste.
Yeah. Faith, you're probably going to like every song or none of the songs, you know? It's like, Kiss Me, it's like, what the fuck? Why can't I be you? But then you hear like 1,000 Hours or something, and you're just like, oh, that's pretty, you know? And then... Cats.
See, I thought of
if
Faith,
for nothing else, just like heaven.
I thought of Faith and like almost like, you know, if you're introducing someone to records, like, or I think with like introducing someone to anything, like you want to leave like the treat at the door.
Yeah.
Because like, you know, someone that listens to pornography and will like, you know, listen to it and we'll think like, well, what else is similar to this? Let me open the door, and it's like, oh shit, there's Faith,
right?
You know,
yeah, that's funny.
You got to have something on the other side of it. It's like that'll take them deeper and then lure them in.
Yeah, that's a good point. But do you remember the first 3 songs that captured your attention, like specifically, like? You're like, yeah, that was cool. Like, maybe even just, like, one was like, huh. And then, like, another one that was like, yeah. And then, like, the song's like, yeah, I definitely love this band.
I think specifically it was probably, like... I liked In Between Days. I think it was the bass line on that. Mm-hmm. And the drum fills.
Yeah, I feel like that's probably a big converter for a lot of fans, or you know, like that song's just so fucking right on.
And it's sing-songy, and it has like, you know, just like the cadence in the band, you know, the go on, da-da. Like it's just very sing-songy, but then there's that dope bass line.
Yeah, I see that for sure.
Yeah.
Was, like I said, Hanging Garden piqued my interest, but Standing on the Beach,
drums on that.
Just for killing an Arab, actually, just because we're like, man, that's badass. Not that I wanted to kill Arabs or anything, but just thought it was a cool fucking song.
Okay.
Ooh,
Holy Hour does not endorse the hatred of the Arab.
No. We all know it's a based on. I love The Stranger, the book. I just wanted to see what all this hype was about. All this racist hype that was already over for like 3 years by the time. But yeah, like Killing an Arab was a fucking cool song, you know? And and then I distinctly remember listening to Staying on the Beach at my grandparents' house, and like one night when I couldn't sleep, because I'd always have like one weird night where I just couldn't sleep up there because it was all like 1,000 degrees in whatever room we're staying in, and like and then a distinct moment of feeling really sad when In Between Days came on, like because I loved it so much, and we'd listen to it while we were falling asleep, me and my brother, and like, and when it came on, it was because I knew that we were like on the last album of the greatest hits, you know, like, and I knew the tape was about to end because we didn't have auto reverse or whatever on the tape player. I was like, oh no, it's about to end. And it was like this weird, like, happiness, but at the same time, because the song was like just fucking cool, but at the same time, it was like sad and like, yeah, that was a weird feeling. But I remember like, wow, if I like a band enough where I'm like getting depressed before even the last song, because it had like, you know, I think Close to Me's last one, and that's must be like the true sign of being addicted or whatever, you know. And so I was like, fuck, this band's got me. I've listened to every song, so
that's so funny. Like,
yeah, it's In Between Days.
I feel the same way of like when you just like you listen to a record and like you're like, oh, I'm like midway through. I'm not ready to be at this point.
Right. It's like a vacation that's almost over, you know?
It's always like, it's always Fleetwood Mac records for me that really like, I know this is a Cure podcast, but that are great demonstrators of like, just like Rumors and Tusk. Those are always like that similar, like you're saying, where it's like getting to that song and you know.
Yeah.
Those two records, I'm always like, just these milestone songs, and throughout the records I'm just like, oh, there's only like, oh, we're on like side
Going too fast.
Fuck, man. Like, it's almost gone. And
yeah, it's that Sunday.
And it always
feeling.
makes me appreciate the record more as it goes on. Because I'm just like, fuck, man, I almost lost it. Like, I thought it was like.
Totally.
But,
that's cool. Do you feel like if, how do you think in any era, say any era off the bat of seeing like the same scenario, somebody that's never been subjected to any cure, but seeing a live show, is that a good or bad idea? If you took them to see a live show,
any like,
yeah, I mean, I guess it's tough because it's like which era, and then like, do you think that's just a bad idea in general? Because there's bound to be people like this last tour, even that like were dragged there by like their significant other or something, and like. They're like, all right, what am I in for? Might know, like, just like heaven or something. But there was probably a few that, like, just didn't know any fucking thing. And they're like, whatever, I'll go see them with you. And do you think that would be a great way to introduce a fan? Or do you think that would be, like, bad? I thought it would be great. But I threw this by my wife,
like,
and she was like,
just the last tour or, like, a time machine scenario where you could take
any.
it to, like...
We'll start off with any, and then we'll ask about the last tour. But, do you think any tour? Because, I mean, if you just plop right into, like, the middle of the pornography tour, whoa, that's a little much, probably. There's some crazy shit probably going on that you'd just be like, whoa, what the fuck? I mean, it'd probably be cool, but I'm sure it'd be cool, but, like, if you didn't know the cure or what you're getting into, or, you know, it's like, could be, like, a little overwhelming, maybe, if you weren't prepared mentally.
I know, but that's the whole point.
Yeah, so
you know, like I want to be overwhelmed when I see a band.
And, yeah, I mean, hearing those bootlegs and shit, it would be hard to not be impressed. Obviously, seeing those shows, but like, I'm just trying to think of the extremes of the Cure's different personas. You know, like, well,
I'll do a list of three time periods of the Cure. Mm-hmm. Time Machine, go to see their set.
Okay.
It would be like, that one that
you did like a Scrooge thing. Let me take you on a journey through time. Okay.
Yeah, totally. Past, present, and future.
This topic's getting more and more ridiculous. I love it.
I love it.
Get your top hat and your kerchief. We'll go. All right, where are we landing first?
I'm wearing one of those long sleeping caps right now. But it would be, you would just get wrapped up in that thing if you were sleeping in it.
Yeah, it was like strangling.
Like it would be like a snake around your neck in the middle of the night. Like, that's the dumbest. Sleeping hat technology has really progressed.
Yes, like a sleep hat. Who wears a fucking hat to sleep?
That's like 3 feet long.
Like, not just a little cap, like a little knit hat would make more sense if it was cold.
I know.
Anyway.
And that was back in the day when like everyone's beds were filled with vermin, and you were probably twisted and turning all night. Mm-hmm. That thing's going around your neck. You're just spinning around.
Why does everyone keep dying in this village?
It's not these 4-foot sleeping caps. I'll tell you that.
You got these weird troll hats everybody's wearing.
Hey, Harry Potter, give me your hat and go to bed. It would be that like their was it like their first show or something in the States for like this.
No, we're going like all the way back to the beginning.
I'm gonna go all the way back in the day. When the Cure played New York City.
They played the talent show.
No, but you remember that it's like a thing on YouTube that dude's been putting out that we talked about. It's like their first
the first
like
US
filmed in
show,
black and white, and it's like their first like they're playing like 17 seconds and shit.
Yeah. You think that'd be a good...
I'd go to that fucking show.
Yeah.
And I would suggest a person go see that.
You're just using the time machine to go see whatever show you want to see, I think.
Because I'm tagging along. But I think that's it.
Like, shut the fuck up and come with me. This will be good.
I'm like, hey, dude, could you drive?
I was going to
I make him drive and stuff.
No, man. Yeah, make him drive while you get all fucked up.
You're an asshole.
Will you buy me a beer, man? It's cheap now. It's only $19.80.
Do you have any of your future money? Is this worth more? Like, I don't know exchange rates and time.
They don't take credit cards at bars in this time frame. You're going to have to buy, man.
I just got my debit card, dude. I'm sorry.
What is this space card you
But all that aside.
Yeah. What else?
That'd be a dope one.
Where would you go from there? Like the ghost of Christmas present?
Yeah, not this present, but
then the future.
But a past present.
I
would probably do because the other side of that coin would be like you're saying, like pornography, man. It would be like a pornography show. Like I love some of like the bootleg pornography live stuff that I've heard. Like it sounds insane. They sound crazy. They sound fantastic, and it's dark and confusing and overwhelming. Like that's how it sounded live, and it sounded great. And they were sloppy, but they were tight.
Why did you do this to me? What is happening?
I know.
Why are his eyes bleeding?
I'm like, no, this is dope, man.
Why are they fighting on stage?
You'll get this in another 10 years. I mean, not 10 years from now, but 10 years from your present.
From where we'll land next.
And,
awesome. Where would you go from there?
That's a tough one. That last 3 one, because there's so much time to span and like so many places to take them in so many eras. You know, like it's so different from fucking like album to album and year to year. It would have to be. I don't know. I think it would have to be like Disintegration era.
Yeah. They were just
like,
so on, and it was just such like a defining moment too, you know? It's just like
you get some Boris in there and like
yeah, I'd say that'd be a pretty mind-blowing time adventure.
Yeah.
They can't really complain. I think they would. All right, you convinced me. They're a pretty good band. You've taken me back in time to 3 Days.
And I'd be like, and there's still another 20 years after this when we're in the discrimination and the Disintegration.
Discrimination tour.
That was the remix album for Disintegration. It's called Discrimination. You guys just haven't heard it yet.
That's what Integration should have been called. Remember Integration?
Oh, damn.
I forgot about that shit. That was like a cool thing. Like I never hear anybody talk about that shit. Remember that? It was like a little box set of the CD singles from Disintegration. And it was just like they like just put them all together. I remember I already had like 2 of them, I think, but I was like totally paranoid I wasn't gonna get it on the release date. But my mom came home with it. She bought it for me. I was like, yay! I came home from school. It was fucking. But yeah, it was like the Lullaby, Pictures of You, Fascination Street, Love Song, CD singles. Anyway, totally digress. What if this fucker that you took back in time was like, yeah, still don't like him. I'm taking you back in time, you son of a bitch. Like, nah, it's just not my thing, man.
I don't know how to drive a time machine. You were drunk the whole time.
Like, I was kind of hoping we'd do some other shit since we had the power of time travel, but that's cool.
I know.
But yeah, I would 3 eras would be tough. I do feel like I'd have to like cover some fucking ground just for the sake of time travel, but definitely Disintegration tour. I feel like Head on the Door again, just because that was such a weird. I think that one's just such a pivotal like time too for the band, like coming out of the top into that, and then that was like the start of a whole like fucking like I don't know. Maybe I just love Boris more than I realized because everything seems to revolve around him and Poral's like time frame, I guess. But yeah, like Head on the Door, I'd love to see. I always like the bootlegs, but yeah, then I'd have to do one of the weird ones. I'd almost want to go with Faith again. I don't know if I'd want to go full pornography with them. I'd just like, all right, they'll play some like overly reverbed and flanged versions of shit from like Three Imaginary Boys too, but isn't quite going there yet, you know? Or like you're saying, the 17 seconds ones that we've seen clips of would be pretty awesome, but I like them to get a little weird, it's funny a little weirder.
I do think it's funny how like Faith is like my favorite record of theirs, and it hasn't been on any of my
it's pretty weird
list, but it's on all of yours.
I know. Just because I've been listening to it a lot lately, but yeah, I don't know.
It's funny.
It captures that era better than the other ones, I think. I think like you know, like I've said before, like 17 seconds wasn't enough, and pornography is a little too much sometimes, you know. But Faith is always
it's
like
the porridge.
Yeah, it's like just right. You
or
know?
The Bears or whatever.
Yeah, which is weird. I feel like it pairs with Disintegration really well. So I always thought like that should have been if you're gonna make a trilogy that involves like Faith is like the baby version of Disintegration, you know? Like
yeah, me too. It makes me think of like why the Time Machine going back to see certain eras would be so dope because like because that was back when they were like touring for these records.
Yeah.
So it was all record heavy.
Yeah.
And mood heavy where it's not like a best of show or like, hey, we've been doing this 40 years show.
Yeah.
A celebration of the Cure, you know. Because I missed that. Because like I think like Wish, I think was the only time I really got to see him do like a record heavy show.
Yeah, even for like the Curiosa stuff, they played probably more stuff off the self-titled album, but than they normally would play. But it still wasn't like a, you know, like a Wish kind of
tour.
Yeah, like yeah, it's weird. Like the 413 one I saw was still kind of in that vein, but they played a lot of them that they wouldn't play again. You know, probably. So
yeah, totally.
It's,
hitting some crazy deep cuts.
Yeah.
Where they're all still a little tight from the studio. Like we played this song like 8,000 times right now.
Right. Yeah. So
and they forget it in a year.
Yeah. Pretty cool.
Yeah, man.
Well, maybe we should wind this one down.
This is Donald live from the fucking Pop the Cherry on the Wolf Den.
Yeah, the Wolf Den is official. And my little... my sneaky cove. I don't know what this room would be called.
That's the worst name.
The Sneaky Cove.
Everything's going to sound dumb compared to the Wolf Den.
Well, Donald's down in the Wolf's Den. I am coming live from the Kangaroo's Pouch.
The Hawk's Nest?
I'm in the Kangaroo's Pouch, man. I'm in
the Kangaroo's Pouch.
Mama Roo's Pouch right there.
That's dope.
Yeah, it's nice and warm in here. Real fucking warm.
I know. Thanks for listening, folks. And
real quick, subscribe on iTunes in case this, didn't win you over. Be sure to subscribe on iTunes. Leave comments, suggestions, and get all the episodes
on Instagram and stuff
as soon as they come out. Instagram, the Holy Hour Podcast on Instagram. You'll get all the latest scoop on episodes. Go over to the Facebook page and like that, and you can also follow specific episode threads. Contribute. How would you convert a Cure fan listener? What songs would you do? We didn't have time to throw this one out to the public. So, what album do you think is the best kickoff album? Do you have a story that was how you got converted or introduced, if you will? So
I would play him a Susie record. That's what some people are going to do. They'd be like, I'd play him a fucking Sisters of the Mercies record. Be like, don't listen to that shit.
Dude,
you know?
We'll go fucking listen.
And someone do that, man. I would love to hear, like...
yeah, totally.
Arguments of just different viewpoints as well. Like, I don't know why you'd be listening to this if you hated The Cure. Mm-hmm. But if you do and you're listening, chime in as well.
Yeah. tell us how you got into it, and friends even.
Or got out of it.
Yeah. How did you get turned out of the Cure? So, is that even possible? And of course, go check out Arusha's documentary. Still, she's been a big help with the show, and we still want you to go over there and donate some money and check out all the latest updates on her upcoming film push. CureFanDocumentary.com is where you can find all the social media outlets like Facebook, Instagram, all that, and so go check it out. Otherwise, that should tie you over until next 2 weeks or week. I can't tell if this is a bi-weekly show or not anymore, but hey, it's that modern age.
Once a week.
Once a week. Twice.
Coming at you once a week.
You don't know. Keep your ears peeled. Subscribe. Thanks for listening. Talk hard from the Wolf Den.
Talk hard.
See ya.
Bye.
Hello, this is Jason Cooper. You're listening to the Holy Air Podcast.